Welcome back to another Zoomer Reactions. We're just two depressed Red Sox fans watching this World Series. Dylan, what do you think about Mookie?
Gosh, coming right out of the bat with Mookie.
We have to.
Um,
It has to be said.
so I mean, I tried not to watch baseball this year because I knew it was just going to make me upset, and I did a good job for the most part. But I watched Game 7, and I watched some of Game 6. I watched Mookie make all these amazing catches that like put them in a position to win. I watched him in a one-run game rob a home run and hit a home run in Game 7, and then
Yeah,
I
that of
watched
the NLCS.
Yes, and then I watched the World Series in Game 1. I watch him walk to first base, steal second base, steal third base, and then score on a weak ground ball to second, diving under the tag, and then coming back later, and I think he hit another home run that night. It,
Yeah,
it's
he's definitely
infuriating.
the. I think he's the best player right now. I think he had a better season than Mike Trout, and I think that he like what he's doing in the postseason. Like he's literally like if you're talking about plus minus, just like runs over replacement, if that's even a
Yeah.
stat. Oh my gosh! I mean,
You, you,
this Dodgers team is like so much better just with him. It's painful.
in other sports, to be considered the best player in the league, there's like the standard that you have to win. And in baseball, we don't like put that standard on players because it's just a team sport. But like Mookie is playing in the biggest moments. Maybe Mike Trout could do this if he was here, but he's not. And Mookie, whenever he's here, he does this. And he's a Hall of Famer. He's the best player in baseball, I think, and he's proving it. I'm glad that he's proving it. Not to make this all about the Red Sox, but I'm hoping against hope that John Henry and everyone is like reading these Twitter comments and is never going to let something this stupid happen again, where they trade away a Hall of Famer, best player in baseball.
I mean, we have to stop pinching pennies. I think that's like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, we're not the Yankees, but we're still a huge market. We're still like a team that definitely has the money to afford players like this if they're this good. And in the future, yeah, I agree. I think that it's weird to say, but I'm almost glad it's happening this way so that maybe this will never happen again. Because I have this weird feeling that someone like Devers or Bogarts is going to have an amazing next 4 or 5 years, and then we're going to let them walk too. Um, in terms of Mookie and the Dodgers, though, because you're right, I don't want to make this about the Red Sox. I just don't want to talk about them. But I think that everything the Dodgers curse about them underperforming in the playoffs and whatnot, it's like Mookie just kind of negates all of that. He cancels it all out, all of the bad Dodgers energy. He's like the antidote.
Every time you're like, oh, here we go again, it's like, oh no, Mookie's coming up. Mookie makes this catch. Mookie does this or
Yeah,
that, and it's just like he's got a winning attitude.
yeah,
I
it's
like
tough.
I came into the series like rooting for the Dodgers to lose because it's fun to watch the Dodgers lose. It's been 3 years in a row watching it, but like it's like the four falls of Buffalo. Like again, eventually it gets old. Like I'm tired of watching the same team lose in the championship. I don't like the Rays are in my division, so I don't like the Rays. I don't really care if they win. This season doesn't count anyway. Um, it'd be funny to watch the lowest payroll beat the highest payroll, but honestly, like I think it'd be funny if David Price opted out of the season and doesn't get a ring. I think that I don't know the Dodgers. I wouldn't mind as much if they won this year as opposed to the other years.
Yeah, if only David Price was playing, so the Dodgers wouldn't be in this World Series at all.
Yeah,
There's a lot of like, in terms of this Dodgers season, there's a lot of things that had to go like their way, and I just think that like Mookie being there now, like if they win this World Series, I'm a little worried that they're going to go on a tear because now they kind of have it figured out. Like,
yeah.
oh, the rest of the team except Justin Turner and Muncy, like they've had great playoff performances in years prior, but now they just have this guy who is going to rob home runs, is gonna create runs off of, like you said, just getting walked. It's this weird thing of last night. We're talking about Game 3. Um, there was a guy in second, and the Mookie. There's like a 3-2 count, and I was like, I think that they should walk. This is like when the Rays were just trying to stop the bleeding. I think they were down like 5-0 at this point, and maybe like 5-1, but like it was 3-2 with a guy in second, and Mookie's like, riding this guy like Seabiscuit the last couple of pitches, and like you're just like, all right, I think that if it's big league ball and it's a top 3 player in the world, inarguably, that you just walk this guy or you throw a pitch in the dirt, you try to make him chase after a breaking ball, and if he just gets walked, he gets walked. But then you're just like, oh wait, he's actually so dangerous when he just gets on the base. And then what do? You pitched him, and then what happens? He hits a single, and then they score another run, and it's like this. It's unbeatable. Like you have to do something. When he comes out to plate, you can't walk him, and you can't pitch him.
You think about 2 years ago when the Dodgers had a very good team and they were like, we want to make this push. We want to win a World Series. Let's go out and get someone who's going to bring us over the hump. Who was it? It was Manny Machado. That guy does not have a winning attitude. That guy is not a winner. Proven loser, in fact. And so when they brought in that superstar, obviously it doesn't work out. But you bring in Mookie and like instant success because it's Mookie.
Yeah, he's literally good at everything. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this World Series. I know this is looking ahead, but like I guess like repeating is the hardest thing, and the Dodgers haven't won yet, right?
Yeah.
But if they do end up winning, I'll be interested to see. I think that what we saw from Mookie, in 2019 was he looked a little unmotivated, in my opinion. I think when he had that down year, there were like shades of him that I saw that we hadn't seen in the past, and maybe he knew he was going to get traded and whatnot. But like, do you think that like if they win, they break the curse that like this is like a dynasty team, or this is kind of like a one and done? Mookie's gonna end up going somewhere else or something in the future. Like what do you think? Like what is the real future for this team?
I think that if this team has lost 3 straight World Series and then Mookie comes in and they win, then Mookie is like a certified, like, this guy wins you titles. Like, this is the difference maker. And that's his legacy getting inflated. I think for the Dodgers, I mean, they're always like one of the highest payrolls in baseball, and they're not afraid to spend money on really good players. So I think that they'll continue to be good because their management and their ownership knows how to pay players that deserve it.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if Mookie has a 2019 year and it looks like, a little bit of the Mookie magic has run out, like, I just don't think the Dodgers are here. I just think they lose to the Braves. I really do. And if the Braves aren't going anywhere, I think it's going to be hard for this team. I'm not saying that this is like their only chance because, I mean, they are just so talented. Like the Dodgers just have so many guys. It's funny that Seager's having this postseason, and we're just like, oh yeah, like Seager. This guy was like, one of like, he was Bellinger before Bellinger. Like he was supposed to be this guy, and like you forget, like this team is just so freaking deep. But
Yeah.
I do think that when Mookie isn't there to save their ass, or like he just isn't having these amazing moments, like I just don't know if like this is sustainable. We'll see. I just don't believe in the Dodgers. I think that's just the
fair.
biggest thing.
I think that the Dodgers every year have like gotten to the World Series and run into like a little bit of a super team. Like I guess they lost to the Nationals, but like I don't know. The Rays are not a super team. The Rays are like the plucky, like underpaid, like I don't know, the workhorse guys, and it'd be fun to watch them win a championship. But teams that have this style of play don't often win. So I don't know
That's
how
what I'm
much I
saying.
believe in them.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we'll see. I mean, as far as the Rays go, I think if they win, it's like a little brother victory. I don't care. If they win, I know they're in division. Man, the Rays could win like 5 titles in the next whatever X amount of years, and they would still just be like irrelevant. Like it doesn't really matter to me.
All these great guys on their team are not going to be there in 3 years because they're not going to pay them. Like that's what happens to the Rays every 6 years when like in like 09 or whenever it was that they had like whether they would go on a run with like Evan Longoria and David Price and everyone, like that all fell apart when they decided not to pay any of them, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that teams like the Nats and the Rays winning World Series, is this good for baseball?
I guess it's good this year because like this year is like a little bit of a throwaway. So it's like good to see like small market teams win as opposed to like next year you get Dodgers, Astros, like big market, whatever. I think it's good for baseball. I think like small market teams winning in a sport where you have like unlimited salary is definitely good because if it's always just a high market team, then like things fall apart eventually.
I mean, I agree, but I also think that I think that and it's clear in the way that we hired Shane Bloom that we admire as an organization, like making the most out of such a little thing, right? Like have a small payroll and whatnot. But if the more that the Rays and the Nats win, the more that a team like the Red Sox will be motivated to not pay any of our stars. Is more what I'm trying to get. So maybe I'm trying to not
Just the
ask like, does it
conveyor
good for
belt of
baseball?
guys that you're recruiting. Like you can just keep bringing in draft classes and never have to pay anyone ever. It's like the NFL. You never give anyone the contract at the end of the day.
Well, so much of sports is like buying into like these guys, right? Like it's like I love whatever player. Like I love LeBron James. I need to, I want to buy into that guy. And between like 2003 and 2010, like you're a Cavs fan. It's just like LeBron, LeBron, LeBron. I love this guy. If LeBron is like hopping teams every year, like I don't think he has like the diehard fan base and whatnot. And if a player like Mookie is like just there's no loyalty and like he's getting like from one team to the next, like I just don't know if that's good for like baseball as a brand because there's such a problem with like people not even buying into players right now. Like Mike Trout, like how many fans does Mike Trout really have compared to like his talent, like and stuff like that. And
I think
if
that Mookie doing what he's doing is good for baseball because baseball hasn't had a lot of good storylines lately. Like back in the day, like in mid 2000s, Red Sox Yankees was always like a prime like dominant storyline, and the last couple of years, like I think the Astros cheating like has helped baseball a ton actually, and I think that Dodgers Astros would have been like a huge deal. And even though the Astros aren't there, I think that going forward, the Astros are like now this villain team, and I think that like Mookie's trade was a big deal, and now he's going off on the biggest stage. So I think that he's just gonna. I think Mookie's about to be baseball's LeBron James for the next couple of years, and I think just having stars like that and storylines like that will help baseball.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say though is if a team like the Rays and Nats whenever you're like, is Mookie in any way not expendable, but like it's like you might like if the whole narrative of baseball shifts to you like you don't even need these big guys. It doesn't even matter if you have like Mike Trout or Nolan Arenado. It
You
doesn't
just
even
need to
matter.
know
Like
like how to shift your defense to like
yeah,
all the analytics and everything.
it's just like it's all about fucking Moneyball and taking your pitcher out and after the sixth inning every time and like I it's weird. I just think that in a time where like baseball needs like these stars to be prominent and be like these, like you said, like the LeBron Jameses of the world, then we got to see some success from these big name teams. If it's Nats and Rays, that's a tough look. That's a tough look.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the rest of this World Series. I don't really have a huge stake in it, and I'm tired of watching Mookie just be unbelievable.
All right. Well, last thing before we move on from baseball, Red Sox in the World Series next year.
Yeah.
Uh,
All we
uh,
needed was Eduardo
uh.
Rodriguez. If he didn't opt out, we'd be right there.
I really, maybe I'm holding out some crazy faith in the guy, but I think Chris Sale comes back and he's actually healthy and, he's like Randy Johnson. He's going to go on and have longevity and pitch a perfect game when he's 40 years old.
We still have a good offense. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, we just get a good defense, get good pitching, and we'll be back. I don't
Well,
doubt that we'll be back. I'm just mad that like we lost the best player in baseball.
yeah.
Still mad.
I know we said last thing, but we did talk about how Mookie is probably his storyline is going to be a lot like A-Rod's, and we are the Mariners.
Yeah. Oh yeah, A-Rod was in the Mariners. That's right. Like back when he
Yeah, yeah.
started, like totally forgot about that.
He only
Mookie's on
won
the
one
Red
with us. That's the
Sox.
tough thing.
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
Mookie
well,
won with us.
we'll see. We'll see when he's free agent and whatnot, and what he does with his career. But speaking of free agency, we have a lot of NBA players. I think 2021 is going to be the more eventful offseason in terms of this, but there's still a lot of big names out and a lot of guys that I think can really improve teams that are trying to get over the hump.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, of these guys, like I think Fred Van Fleet is like the most pressing name, the biggest impact guy. But I don't know. What do you think? What team and what guy do you think really needs to make the link right, like in the next few months?
I think that a lot of free agents are going to re-sign. I feel like last offseason there was like a huge shift in the league. Like a lot of super teams were broken down or recreated. And I think that it's too early for some teams to like blow it up and rebuild. Like I don't know, like the Clippers. Like I think it's too early to like do something with Paul George. I think like the Rockets, like with Russ and Harden. I think it's too early to like say like let's blow up Russ and Harden. So I think it's gonna be a lot of teams like just like adding little pieces here and there. Like I think that Montrezl Harrell might be gone from the Clippers. I think wherever he goes is going to have a big impact. I think that yeah, guys like Drummond and guys like Van Fleet and maybe if Derrick Rose gets traded, there's just going to be some like small pieces moving around that is going to be able to shift teams in the right direction. Um, I don't know. I don't see like there's not like really a lot of big names this year. Like there's gonna be no like decision this year. I don't think. If DeMar DeRozan opts out, I think DeMar DeRozan will have like the biggest impact on the future of the league if he chooses to go to LA where he's from and join the Lakers or Clippers. But I don't really know if he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much like him going. I guess him going to the Lakers would be like something for sure. But I think that I think Fred being like the piece that first of all the Raptors are like heavily interested in pursuing Giannis in 2021. I don't think they're
So
going
is
to get
everyone.
Giannis. I don't think Giannis wants to go to where it's cold and he has to go through an hour of customs every game. But if they want to make a run for him, I don't know if you can pay him like Fred. And that's a huge thing because if it's any other team, I think they resign Fred because of what he's done for that team and how he's progressed. He's like honestly like his improvement is staggering. I think that he's going to be like an all-star player in a couple years. If not, like I don't know, we'll see how he does next year. But they have that Pascal contract
I don't
already.
know what the Raptors do because do the Raptors try to contend more? Because I feel like last year's team is the best they're going to be able to do. Like with Lowry getting older and Marcus Gasol getting older, like I don't know if Van Fleet is going to develop into being the second best player on a championship team, and that's what he's going to have to be behind Siakam. I don't know if Siakam's going to develop to be the best player on a championship team. So do you just kind of like tread water in like the 4 and 5 seed until you get someone really good when in Giannis? I don't know. I think that if you want to keep competing, you have to re-sign Fred. But if you re-sign Fred, you're kind of settling for like a third, fourth tier star.
Yeah. Now, it's funny how fast things can change because the Raptors before they won the championship, it was like them getting to the playoffs and knocking out one, maybe two teams was like a huge success for them. And now we're like getting hard on them because they were like a couple plays away from beating us. And, like they showed a lot of heart. And it's funny. We were so hard on Siakam because he kind of disappeared against the Celtics. But the dude's been playing basketball for like 6 years or something, and he's improved so much. Like every year he's been in the league. I know it's only been like what, like 4 or 5 years, maybe I think it was like four, but he's improved like so incredibly fast, and it's just nowhere to go but up for the guy. And same with Fred Van Fleet. So like it's just gonna be like it. Our expectations for these guys was like all of a sudden I'm like, do the Raptors really have to like be championship, contenders next season? Like because they have guys like Fred, Siakam, and OG Anunoby that are improving so quickly. Like why not just take a season to develop these guys and see how far you can go? Like why not keep what you have? Because the thing is, they're not going to attract Giannis unless they're competitive next year, and I don't think they're competitive next year without Fred.
I like a lot of teams are like banking on Giannis doing something next year, but like Giannis has only ever said like I want to be in Milwaukee. So I think that
Yeah,
everyone's
but come
gearing.
on.
That's what everyone says. Like, yeah, okay, but like that's all he's ever known, and that's all. Like
Yeah.
every time he's asked the question, he's like, "I'm going to resign him." People are still debating where he's going to go this offseason. He's not going to leave Milwaukee this offseason. People, I don't know. I think that the Heat are like really, really trying to get him as well. The Heat, like, I think are one big star like that away from being a really good team, and I don't know. I think that I would sooner see like the Bucks like recruiting guys. Like I see that like Dragic is a free agent. Like there's some free agents that you can add to a team that would like I don't know cost not a ton, but you'll be able to make you more successful. I don't think Giannis leaves.
This is
And if he
Milwaukee,
does,
dude.
I just don't think the Raptors can plan around Giannis or anyone.
That's true.
I think that they
Yeah,
have to plan around what they've got.
and I think that's more my point is that I think that they have some gems, and just because they won that one title with Kawhi, I don't think the expectation for them should be title contender. I think they should just develop. But about Milwaukee, it's not that people don't have confidence in Giannis's loyalty. It's that like the chances that Milwaukee recruits another guy, legitimate number two, is very slim. And a guy like Goran Dragic isn't going to keep Giannis there. And that's the problem. Like, no one wants to go there. So like they couldn't even keep Andrew Bogut there. Like it's like every time they have anyone who's even remotely like all-star potential or an all-star, like you just assume that this is going to happen. And like, who again, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think obviously he's not going to leave like anytime soon until it comes to like that 2021, that final. I think it'll be like almost like a decision. Like everyone's counting down the days until he makes his move. But at the end of the day, I don't see the Bucks between today and October 2020 and October 2021. I think there's a 0% chance that the Bucks recruit somebody good enough to make the Bucks a legitimate threat. Because like we have learned in the last 3 years that this team, just with Giannis and them, it's a regular season team.
I've heard like rumblings that they're going to try and trade for Chris Paul. They're going to try and trade for someone. They do have a lot of assets to make a trade like that. So I think that would be the route they go. Because there's no one unless they get DeMar DeRozan. But I think DeMar DeRozan and Giannis would kind of like, I don't know, that's two of your best players handling the ball that both can't shoot threes. So I think that, I don't know. I don't think that the Bucks can like any of these free agents that are available would make a difference on their team this year. Like there's no like stars in this free agent class. And so
like Joe Harris isn't going to be the reason.
They're going to have to trade for someone. And that's going to be the question of what they can pull off there.
I mean, that's the other thing though. Like not that they have nobody that the Thunder would want, because like maybe you trade Brogdon or sorry, not Brogdon. Maybe you trade I don't know, like Dante DiVincenzo. I guess like they have picks, but like that's the other thing. Like I don't think they want to get rid of Middleton, and all the other guys are just kind of they're average Joes. And like if you want to make a trade for a caliber player like Chris Paul, I think is like the best example. Maybe that's their best shot, but like again, in today's NBA, like players league, super teams, like it takes an all-star to attract an all-star. Like I just don't think that it's likely. Like I don't think, and that's why people are like so much like saying that Giannis leaving is like a shoo-in, because like it's a perfect storm of the location, their roster. Like also Giannis isn't really like he's not like a banana boat crew, right? Like he doesn't have like this like NBA lineage that he can go out to a player and be like, hey man, come play for me. Like trust me, Milwaukee's great. Like Russell Westbrook could do that with Paul George in OKC. Like, hey, trust me, I know it's not Miami, but like we can do something here. Like he doesn't have that ability. He doesn't have that notoriety, I don't think. So like,
do we know when like free agency even starts? Because I'm trying to find it, and I don't even think there's a set date yet. They already have a set date for when they want to like play next season. I don't even know when free agency is going to start.
Yeah,
I don't even know when the draft is.
I know when the draft,
because it's gonna be. They have a month. If they're gonna start December 22nd, which would be awesome. If they're gonna do that, there's a month of training camp and preseason games. So they have a month to do all of the draft and free agency. It's gonna be a whirlwind, and trades are gonna be happening like every day. If trades are gonna be happening, and I don't know, life's gonna come at you fast for a lot of these teams and a lot of these players.
No, that's definitely true. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. That's the thing about this offseason. I just like our team's just gonna want to just like keep what they have and just like kind of resume, because like it's such a fast time to implement like a new person. You don't have like this whole entire summer and like preseason games to like work somebody into like your lineup and like what you want to do. I think you just want to keep what you got. I saw like the Warriors literally have no free agents. Like their roster right now is like the roster like 2 months from now. Like it's they're locked in completely, and I just have this weird
Wow.
feeling like like and what they're doing there. It's like it's on purpose, and like they just know that like this offseason is not an off season. It's a hiccup. It's like a walk outside just to come back right back in. Like
Well, like I said before, like there's a lot of new teams in the league that just all came together last season, and a lot of them, some of them, like haven't played since March. So you have like this tiny sample size with this team of like to determine if they're going to be successful or not. And then everything in the bubble, like the bubble was awesome, but like I think you can chalk some of like Pascal Siakam playing terrible, Paul George playing terrible. Like I think some of those things were like circumstances of their situation. So it's hard to make a really like constructive decision about where your team is and where it needs to go off of the season we just had, because it was a weird season to judge a team based off. So with no stars in free agency and only a month of free agency, like to figure everything out, I don't know. It's gonna be weird, and I think it's gonna be a lot of just like small pieces. I don't see a lot of huge blockbusters this free agency period.
yeah, no, I agree. I really do think that it's like because when you talk about these huge names like 2021, sorry, is going to be like a big name off season when it comes to like free agents, right? Kind of what we had in like 2018. Um, and that's going to be like exciting and fun. But what I like about these kinds of off seasons where like it's Joe Harris, Montrezl Harrell, it's Bertans. Um, these are like quality guys that
Yeah.
you get on the dime, and like I really do think will improve like some teams. Like Joe Harris, I don't think the Nets are going to keep him just because like their luxury tax pains are going to be so harsh that I think that they need to like kind of if you have Dinwiddie, you want to pay LeVert, you want to pay Kyrie and KD, that this is probably the guy you have to let go. I think he is a kind of guy that can really help some. Even you talk about a team like the Raptors, honestly. Like the Raptors have two guys in Serge and Mark that are both making like 20 mil. I think they're both free agents. They're definitely going to let one of them go, and they'll have a little bit of spending money. And if they want to be like the number one seed in the East, try to attract Giannis next year, like he's exactly what they need. It's just a more consistent shooter and means of offense. Um, Players like that, I really do think like make that team get over the hump, and that's what it's going to be, in my opinion. Like a team like the Magic, I don't think they're going to make any moves in the next couple of months, but those teams are trying to get over the hump. If Milwaukee's trying to make some kind of case and trying to court Giannis into staying, I think they better pick up. Just because they aren't big names doesn't mean you don't pick anyone up, and I think that they better pick some of these guys up. I think Fred Van Fleet in Milwaukee. Come on, that's kind of hype.
Yeah, no, like Bogdanovich is a free
Yeah.
agent now. Like there's guys that can come in there and can ball. Like I think Otto Porter has a player option. Like I don't know who exactly wants to stay on their contracts, but there's a lot of guys that can help your team in this class.
You were talking about Boogie before. He's there. He's
Boogie,
still available.
yeah, I think he's definitely on a team next year, and I think that a like good DeMarcus Cousins would make a huge impact wherever he goes, because it's like he's the perfect five if he's DeMarcus Cousins of old in the modern NBA.
Yeah, 100%. I think the Celtics. I would love to see them make a move for like a Harrell or like a. But we really do need to get rid of the Gordon contract before we can do anything, which is
You
the tough
know,
thing.
do you know who would make the Bucks a championship team? Is a guy named Isaiah Thomas. A pick and roll of Isaiah and Giannis would go crazy. He's a metal hip now. He's back in action. He can put weight on both sides equally now, and I think that he can make anyone a contender.
We need a clip. We'll clip this moment. We'll clip this moment as hopefully it's not a blooper moment. It's a I told you so moment. But jokes aside and whatnot, I actually do think that he deserves like one like legitimate chance. It's kind of like the Tebow thing where like after the Broncos, he never really got like a full chance, like a good actual chance. Like I think
Yeah.
that like Isaiah needs like one more like actual like 20 minutes of playing time on like a smart team like chance. He doesn't have to start right off the bat, but like you're right. I mean, like if Isaiah Thomas is even the player that he was on the Cavs, like even that Isaiah Thomas could really help the Bucks. Like they
Yeah,
definitely could have used someone like that.
when he left the Celtics, he was in the Cavs and the Lakers, and he was averaging per 36 minutes, he was averaging like 20 something, but like in his like 20-minute stints, he was averaging like 15. And then after that, he was on the Nuggets and Wizards, who never played him. And he released like a documentary, like a 10-minute thing, where he interviewed like all his doctors and all his trainers and everything, who basically explained like through scientific terms how he was playing on one leg. Like he was playing on one leg where they measured like how much weight and pressure he could put on each hip, and it was like twice the amount on his left hip than right hip, or whichever hip is injured. And 4 months after the surgery, he's already back to like equal balance and equal pressure on both legs. And he's saying like, I don't know if you noticed his face like blew up. He got a bunch of pimples and stuff because he was taking these shots to like try and like move the fluid around in his hip. And now he looks like he's lost a bunch of weight, and he looks way better, and he deserves one more shot. That's what I need most from this offseason. Is for a good team, a bad team, the Knicks, whatever, give IT a shot to put some shots up.
I think we'll see. Like I hope he gets it. I just think it's gonna take like it's kind of like Carmelo, where like it'll take the perfect situation for it to happen. Like it's gonna take like the Trailblazers, like them like needing like emergency depth. Like there'll be a team that needs emergency depth, and I'm sure it'll make the call.
Well, if you just look at the free agent class, I think that guys like IT and DeMarcus Cousins, if you want to like make a big change, you have to take a chance on them, because you're like, all right, like we need this team to be way better. Let's go get Davis Bertans. Let's go get Jordan Clarkson. Like those guys will help, but IT or DeMarcus Cousins could be like season-changing game changers. And so I think that it's just like when that's if you're trying to win next year and you're looking at free agents to do that, like Danilo Gallinari, like or a prime DeMarcus or a prime Isaiah.
I mean, it's such like a what have you done for me lately league, right? I think that's the tough thing is there's always like this next young guy, and if you're one of these terrible teams and you're just like you're looking at this draft class and you're like, like LaMelo Ball or take a chance in IT, like I just think that's like the toughest thing for him is like I said, he's gonna need to find that perfect situation. I mean, dude, Danny Ainge would never bring him back. I think we need point guard depth. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's like weird things like that. That's like the Cavs aren't gonna bring him back, but like what the Cavs wouldn't like they don't need like another score. Like they don't need everything right now. Like it's the Tebow effect. We're like, dude, he's getting so screwed out of these things. If LeBron doesn't hate this guy's guts, like I just think that like his career goes so much differently. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, a team like it's tough. I know he's already been like the Wizards. I think the Bucks would be the coolest thing. I do agree with that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Boogie's going to get another chance too. I think a team like honestly, I would look out for the Bucks. I mean, I don't think that right now like they have both Lopez brothers on contract. Like I don't think that's a forever thing. And I think that both of these players are like really big, sign them in February kind of players, you know? Like injuries happen, you never know.
Maybe the Rockets could use DeMarcus. The Rockets that like gave up on having a center could use someone like that, maybe.
Maybe Russell Westbrook goes down with some injury and they need a guy. They're like, who can shoot the three, also, you know, passed as well in pick and roll, and they'll make the call. A man can hope.
Well, a man can hope. I can confirm that.
I mean,
doing it for a while.
Yeah, this is definitely like Dylan's bedroom is definitely the HQ of the Isaiah Thomas fan club. It will happen. I think was that there like you know what's funny is I know you didn't plan that out. It just it is out in your room.
Hey, I wore this last night. My laundry is right here. It's atop of the laundry.
There's this funny moment of this Game of Zones where like Brad Stevens is talking to Danny Ainge, and like Danny Ainge is like, figure it out or else. And then Brad Stevens like, you would never. Boston loves me. And he's like they love the king of the fourth.
Oh, Danny scares me. Wouldn't want to. I mean, I would want to work for the Celtics, but working for Danny Ainge,
I wouldn't want to cross him at all. Yeah.
be a scary place to buy a house.
That's true. Okay, before we move on to more fun last topic, Celtics, man, who do you pick up? What needs to happen? Because we need a change.
Looking at just free agency, the Celtics, the needs I look for this team is like a scorer off the bench and a big man. And looking at free agency, like we can't afford like Fred VanVleet or Evan Fournier or whoever. But as we go down the list, I don't know. I think that a guy like Jeff Teague, if Jeff Teague doesn't want to take a lot of money, I think a guy like, I don't know, for big men, I like Millsap, I like Baines, I like Christian Wood would be sick because Christian Wood apparently is super unhappy. If Danilo Gallinari said that he's like made his money, now he wants to win. If he wants to take less money for us and play like, he could play with the 5 a little bit. He's a tall guy, and I just think I would like a proven scorer off the bench and a big man that is like a little bit better than Daniel Tice, a little bit. Aaron Baines, Paul Millsap, someone.
I just think that Danny Ainge doesn't swallow his pride and sign Baines again. But Baines fits so well into what we do.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing for me. There's 2 things. I think that moving Gordon's contract is going to be a lot harder than like expected. Especially because like
we're going to have to give picks with Gordon. We're not going to get like more talented players than Gordon for Gordon.
Yeah, and especially like we don't know what like the cap's going to be. Like there's so many reasons why like taking on like a relatively unproven the last 3 years, $33 million year from Gordon is going to be hard. That situation is going to be hard to find. And the other thing is that Brad is so enthralled with the idea of positionless basketball that like I don't know if he looks at a guy like, I think like Christian Wood, in my opinion, like I think that'd be like one of the best case scenarios because I think he's physical, like he's young, he's got energy, brings off the bench. I think Montrezl Harrell is a little bit more expensive than Christian Wood, and I just don't know that if a guy like Christian Wood, who struggles shooting the ball, that Brad Stevens is going to look at that and just be like, yeah, like on top of him having this weird affinity for Daniel Tice, like I just don't know if it happens. I just don't know if like Danny Ainge and him are going to look at Christian Wood and say that we're going to make the investment.
Like if you talk about Tice versus Baines, Tice, like Danny Ainge found in Germany, like tearing up the German leagues and went and grabbed him and now has him. He feels so much pride. Like I found this guy in Europe and he's our starting center now versus Baines, the guy that he traded right before he got way better and made a mistake in trading him. So like Danny Ainge's pride of like this guy that I found in Europe or this guy that I traded away for like nothing. Like the guy that you traded away for nothing would be a huge benefit to our team versus the guy that you were like geniusly found. And I guess we're going to have to see if he can put the ego aside.
Europe, man. Whether it's the Sox or the Celtics, we got this weird the people that run our teams that they have too much stock in Europe. All right.
Same with like Wanamaker. Wanamaker, they just like found like in the Euro leagues, like bouncing around. Like we're going to make this guy our backup point guard and play him 25 minutes. No, thank you.
Yeah, there's like a weird like if the world was like utopia, like we bring back Baines and IT and it actually solves both of our problems. But it'll never happen because of pride and ego. Like,
but right before we move on, I actually think that the biggest addition to the Celtics next year will be a healthy Romeo Langford. He was supposed to be like a way bigger part of like our offense, and he is made of glass. And hopefully next year he's not.
Yeah, and I think Carson needs to get his confidence back. I think once he gets his confidence back, I think what we saw from that summer league was literal like Curry potential. If not
People
Steph,
have
at least
already given up on him. People have already given up on Carson Edwards. And people are like, oh, like the jump from college to the NBA, it's difficult. watch one of the Purdue games. Watch his 45-point Purdue
Yeah.
game where he's scoring every 5 seconds. Like, you don't just lose that. That is like the difference between the NBA and college isn't like 30 points a game to 0 points a game. Like, he can ball. He just needs a chance.
I don't think the Celtics have given up. We gave him a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
So,
No,
he's got 4 years to make it happen. And I think he will. All right. Last, this is more a fun topic, but something that's near and dear to our hearts. We miss going to ball games, right? Big L of the summer was walking past Fenway, knowing that it was just empty. But everyone knows that the ball game is about so many things. It's about the actual game happening in front of you, but also, and camaraderie as well, but also got something to eat, right? Food makes any sport better. There's like a quote from Charles Barkley that says, you can even watch tennis, and if you got wings, it's a great time. But things have to reign supreme. There's got to be a list. There's got to be order to this ballpark food world. And we're going to set that order right now through snake draft, I guess. Or we'll just alternate picks. We'll keep it simple. And we're going to draft our most favorite ballpark foods. It's going to be, just to clarify, this could be beverage or actual food. This doesn't have to be ballpark specific, though it can be. And I think that's all the rules. I think anything is really fair game. Because I sprung this topic on you, I'll let you get first pick. And I think I have a pretty good idea of what you're going to pick first.
My first pick is going to come out of left field. So I went to
simple. There's the obvious one, but
no. So I went to Citi Field one time. Citi Field, beautiful stadium, like huge. They have a Shake Shack there, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about this was the first time I'd ever eaten this food. I didn't know it existed, and it's still one of the best things I've ever eaten from a concession stand at Citi Field. Garlic fries. I had the juiciest, most drenched pile of garlic fries while I watched the Mets Marlins at Citi Field. And garlic fries, when I walked out of the stadium, were my new favorite food. It used to be garlic bread. I walked out, and garlic fries are my new favorite food. I've not had garlic fries since that have held a candle to Citi Field garlic fries. Number one, easy pick for me.
I'm shocked. I feel betrayed. I feel like I don't even know the person that I've been working with so heavily in the last few months. Last years, really. I can't believe you didn't go Fenway Frank.
I love a Fenway Frank, and I miss Fenway Franks, but I've had hot dogs as good as Fenway Franks. I haven't had garlic fries ever as good as Citi Field garlic fries.
Okay, well, here's why I'm picking Fenway Frank. Here because it's not
that was
because
my
you're
next
right.
Pick. It's
because you're right. It's not like it's like this hot dog is the best hot dog in the world. It's the nostalgia factor. It's what it brings to the table, like the intangibles, right? I think people talk about intangibles in a draft. This hot dog has all the intangibles. Like you bite into that Fenway Frank, and you're automatically brought back to all these amazing moments that you've witnessed at that ballpark. All the memories come flooding back, and you almost feel like a kid again. And it's the tradition. It's everything about it. Yeah, it's not just a hot dog, because you're right. But I will say there's something about Fenway Franks that maybe it's the bun, maybe it's just the fact that it's made at the park, but it doesn't taste the same when you get like the package of Fenway Franks at
no.
Like maybe they sprinkle crack on it or something, but like there's something about it. You can't just have one.
I would not pay $5 for a hot dog, a 4-inch hot dog, under any other circumstance ever. And I think the foot-long one is like $10. I would not pay $10 for a hot dog anywhere else other than Fenway Park buying a Fenway Frank. It's worth it. And they make it like $4.50 so that when you buy it off the guy walking around, you give him a $5 bill. You can't ask for change from that guy. It's $5.
You can't. It's almost tip. But
it's a $5 hot dog.
You can never buy one, too. I think that says something. Something. It's classic. It's a perfect size. It just, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like everyone has their hometown pizza place that they think is like amazing, is the best pizza they've ever had. It's probably not the best pizza, but it's everything that comes with it. Yeah. Fenway Frank, pick number one.
All right. Number two for me is something that I didn't realize that it was such a thing in Boston you had to hunt for. but I had to go hunting for it last
I know.
summer because it's just like such an essential thing to my summers and my experience at ballparks. And that is a
This is my number two.
soft, soft serve chocolate vanilla twisted ice
Yep.
cream cone with rainbow sprinkles.
Yep.
Cone, either waffle or sugar, chocolate vanilla swirl, rainbow sprinkles, you dip it in. And I get that almost every time I go to a Red Sox game, anytime I go to any game. Sunny days, like growing up after Little League games, like you can't beat it. I haven't seen anything beat it ever.
No,
And in Boston, it's like impossible to find. There's no just like come in and get some soft serve ice cream. Everything is you have some froyo or have some like vegan ice cream or whatever. There's no I like was walking the streets like I don't even know hunting for ice cream. I couldn't find it.
yeah, I mean the culture has left soft serve ice cream in the dust. But I
You
mean,
get it in like the helmets at the stadiums whenever you go to a
yeah,
new stadium. Like
100%.
there's just it's an experience, and you can walk away with a memory of that wonderful experience eating ice cream.
Everyone's house back at home has like a stack of like helmets, little plastic helmets, like sitting in like storage. Like, I have to completely agree with this pick. It's definitely my second pick. It's timeless. I think why we have such an affinity for it is because we grew up in New England. Like we had DQ at our disposal. Like you said, after every little league game, after every soccer game, there was a DQ. Like there's like 3 of them in a 20-mile radius.
Yep.
So you already know what you're gonna get. And then at the ballpark, it's just like that. It's a hot July day, and like you're dehydrated, but you don't want water. What you want is a soft serve ice cream. Whether I'm a cup guy, like I know people, the cone is definitely like it's its own classic, but I like the lack of mess.
Also, I don't know what it is, but in any other scenario, if like I like was starving and all I chose to eat was a hot dog and an ice cream, I would be in the bathroom the rest of the afternoon. But at Fenway, it never happens. At Fenway, everything just works out.
Everything sits right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's got to be something that is like in the food at Fenway and Ballpark. So there's got to be an extra ingredient. I think it's one of the bigger conspiracy theories that no one talks about in sports.
I think it's just 100 years of the fryer juices just like piling up on each other, and every hot dog has more juice than the last one, just left over. I don't know.
Maybe it's the decades of fry grease. It's history. So second pick here, it's tough. I have a few like ballpark specific ones. We got like the Phillies like donut burger comes to mind,
Yeah.
but I might save that for my third because at second I want to get my value here in my second pick. I'm going the $10 beer, and let me explain why.
No, I respect this.
If you pay $10 for a beer, you're going to enjoy it. Every sip, you're just drinking like every sip is like a quarter, and you get what you pay for. You like if you can like I think when you go to the ballpark as a kid, obviously like you don't get to enjoy this, but the minute you go to your first ballpark, first ball game, 21 post 21, it's you realize that alcohol and watching a sporting event is a sacred combo. It's almost necessary.
I have yet to purchase a legal drink in a ballpark thanks to Corona, but I cannot say that I've never had a drink in a ballpark. And it is a wonderful thing because when I go to games as a kid and I'd see like the people next to me like get up and I have to stand up and let them walk by 100 times so they can go get 100 beers. It's like you paid $25 for this ticket and then spent $100 drinking. I never understood it, but you get one of those $10 beers and they're like the Bud Light, they're like the double ones. Like you get your value's worth, and maybe it's just the empty stomach. Maybe it's because all you eat was a hot dog that day, but like you're getting messed up yelling at these players. If you're anywhere near the field, you're making yourself heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's honestly like Mike's special stuff. Like it's like it gives you like the power just to be like a heckler. But also, yeah, you're right. I think it's like half dehydration, half like you're woozy from that. But then you get a couple beers in you and you're having a great time. Like you're definitely not feeling like you did upon walking in. And I just think that has become such a quintessential part of the ballpark experience.
Not even you don't want to drink a vodka cranberry at a baseball
No.
game. You don't want like a Moscow Mule. You want a beer. Like this is America, damn it.
If anyone who knows me knows that like I'm a big like mixed drink guy. If we're going, to a restaurant, like I'm probably not gonna order like the Blue Moon with my dinner. Like I'll probably go with like the meal or something else, something more tasteful. If I'm at a ballpark, I want the working man's the most watered down, like like
Yeah.
the PBR, like that's been sitting out in the sunlight, like that. Like for some reason, I think it's kind of similar to Fenway Frank. I think I'm kind of showing myself as maybe a degenerate, but the Fenway Frank, the $10 beer, they bring something to the table that the intangibles that can't be matched, can't be matched.
No, it can't. So I guess I'll get to my third pick now. The third pick is hard because great options have been taken off the table. I'm not going to go with a meal. Like, I love pizza. I love cheeseburgers. I love chicken tenders. But, like, every chicken tender and every slice of pizza I've had at a ballpark has more or less been the exact same thing. Does the trick. But, like, I'm not going to the ballpark looking for chicken tenders, really. There's a lot of things, like, my uncle, every game we go to, gets peanuts, like, the Cracker Jacks. I don't know anyone that like really enjoys Cracker Jacks, but it's like a baseball commodity for some reason. Like the nachos and stuff are a big deal. I'm gonna go with something a lot more simple. It's just something that I love, and it's not the most exciting pick, but it's the bucket of popcorn because there's just like you don't always want it. You don't get it every game, but there's some times when you just walk by the stand and you just get the whiff of the butter. It's like you're at the movies and you're just like, yeah, I need a bucket of popcorn. And you never regret it. It's always a great choice. Sometimes they come in the long bags. I'm okay with kettle corn. Just every time I go to the movies, I know this is like ballparks, but like I can't watch a movie without a bucket of popcorn. And any game that I go to, like I've had too many of the $10 PBRs. Like just get some popcorn in me. It's something I need.
No, I actually respect this pick so heavily. Like the Fenway Frank is the sprint, and getting the bucket of popcorn is like the marathon. Like there needs to be a study done, the psychology of why watching something and eating something at the same time is like is the most stimulating thing, or just that's become like if that's the norm for you, like you'll never look back. Like there's something about it, and you're watching the game, having something to chew on is just it's a must, and it's a must. And that hot dog only lasts like maximum 5 to 10 minutes.
Some people love sunflower seeds, like which I've never been able to. I just can't even eat them properly. I don't know what to swallow and what to spit. Like you have to like.
You're a
take it apart.
baseball player. Come on.
I was always embarrassed. People spitting all over the dugout. I didn't know how to do it. But yeah, just like I'll respect anyone that says like whenever I go to a game, I need my peanuts, I need my Cracker Jacks, I need like my popcorn, like just finger food.
No, I respect it. My last pick, I'm torn because on one hand I have a hometown favorite, and on the other I have something that's so just makes so much sense, something that I would like. It's the donut burger, and then it's the Dell's lemonade.
Ooh.
And it breaks my heart, but just because I've already picked a beverage, I'm gonna have to go with the donut burger. And it's shout out to the Phillies, Philadelphia fans, like they're their own breed, but they know how to make a burger, man. They know how to make a burger. And everyone knocks on this and they're like, how could you ever eat a burger that has donuts as the bun? They just wonder, and they're closed-minded to it. Guess what? If you like burgers, if you like donuts, you gotta like this. There's no chance you don't. You just gotta try it. It's one of those things that you'll never know until you try. And we all have those experiences in our lives. My first donut burger was at the Big E, and I don't know if you've been to the Big E, but
I know that everyone in the New England
knows the Big E, and that's I guess where the love has started. But I think that it takes a daring soul to sell this. It takes a daring soul to have like, because a ballpark, like you're appealing to the common people. Like you're wondering how many people are actually going to buy this. It's become such a fan favorite over there because it's amazing. And you can't, you want to judge it? Go ahead. Judge it all you want. But all that you're going to do is be depriving yourself of a culinary masterpiece, the donut burger. Doesn't hurt to have sprinkles on a donut either.
I want to believe I'd like that because it's two of my most favorite things in the world. I can't imagine like a really like sugary glazed donut biting into that, and then in mid bite I get to just like a juicy burger. I need to try it. I do.
You're right. You can't imagine it. It's
I can't imagine it.
it's true. It's something that doesn't even you can't even process it. It's above our understanding.
I will say that whenever I go to a ballpark that's like we have some insane thing, like it's the donut burger or it's like the pizza burrito, like I do have to try it. I've not entered a lot of ballparks with a lot of money in my wallet, but hopefully going forward I'll be able to do that. And the donut burger is on the to-do list for sure.
Yeah, and I love these like specialty foods. I know like I think the Padres have like fish tacos or something, and like I think the Cardinals have like this crazy hot dog that's like $25. I like when we have like you have that hometown thing, and I have to pay homage to something else. I think I think Fenway Frank is probably our thing, and I think that other ballparks having their thing as well is good and right in the sports world. But just comparing these lists right here, I'm on the same page about the garlic fries that you are with the donut burger. I like garlic and things is great, like garlic bread, great. Fries are obviously amazing, but
I ate it
garlic
with a
fries,
fork.
like I don't understand. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around that.
I ate it with a fork, and yeah, it was so much garlic. It's so much garlic and butter on these fries, and when I walked out, I was like, this is a new thing in my life. Like, I didn't know this existed, but now it's my favorite food. And I've yet to, like, have a place that held a candle to the City Field garlic fries. I wonder if this is a thing. I wonder if I can look up, like, people.
Garlic fries.
No, just, like, City Field. Like, City Field's garlic fries. Like, I wonder if that's a commodity or if I just, like, had a crazy experience when I was 10.
If they sell it at the ballpark, chances are it's, like, their thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, chances are it's been a thing for a while. And, I mean, you could talk to some Mets fans about it. Maybe it is a thing, but it's like a weird, like it's a weird in between of like fries and like what I imagine like a blooming onion is like, but it's not even an onion, it's like garlic. I'm not gonna knock it because I want to be open-minded. I think what we need to do is we need to go to like both of these stadiums and have the other person try it. I think that's like how this will be ended. Like how these lists will be justified.
Stay tuned, everyone. Double Take is going to hit the road as soon as there's a vaccine.
Yeah, the IG Live. Dude, oh my gosh. I really, just before we go on our last topics, man, I hope to God that next summer we're able to enjoy all 6 of these things. Oh my gosh. If we can't go to like baseball games next year too, I don't know.
This is the longest stretch I've gone without eating a bucket of movie theater popcorn or a Fenway Frank at Fenway. Like this has not been fun.
Maybe it's been good. Time. Now that we said out loud, it's probably been good for.
I'm down in belt size, but at what cost?
Yeah, at what cost? At what terrible, boring cost. All right, looking ahead. I like to finish every episode of this, which is something we're looking ahead to. I'm gonna let you start first. I know you got a big thing to look ahead for, a new guy, new face of your franchise.
That's right. It's Tua time. Tua time in about 8 days. All year when Fitzpatrick has been starting, everyone in the world has been like, why isn't Tua starting? Why Fitzpatrick? He's not your future. And then he has some good games. And then they say we're going to start Tua, and everyone's hyped. And then as soon as Fitzpatrick is like, yeah, this sucks, everyone's like, the Dolphins are making a mistake. Like, Fitz was balling. Well, it's too early. They're rushing Tua. Pick a side. Everyone shut up. Tua is the future of the team. Fitzpatrick, I was fine with him starting because I felt like Tua needed to learn some stuff. I would have been fine with Fitzpatrick starting until we were like eliminated from playoff contention. Like, just let's see how far he can take the team. If he takes us to the playoffs, you just let him take us to the playoffs. But Fitzpatrick is not starting next year. So if we're not all in on winning this year, which I don't know if we are, like we have a lot, like we didn't spend a lot of money in free agency. We have a lot of draft picks next year. I think Tua needed to play games this year to be ready for next year. And I think that it makes just way too much sense. We're 3-3. We're 1 game behind the Bills. We're in our bye week. You bring in Tua now. Tua gets 2 weeks to play with the first team offense. And he comes into the season with a clean slate. We're 500. We're 3-3. We're in the playoff race. But if we fall out of the playoff race, no one's like heartbroken. It just makes way too much sense for Tua to start. Fitzpatrick, I was really disappointed in because when the season started, I know, he played so well, he's doing great, but when the season started, the media kept asking him like you're a placeholder. How do you feel about that? He's like, I know I'm a placeholder, but like I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna try and like help this kid learn. And then when they made the call, he's like, I was heartbroken. Like now I have to sit in the room with the guy that fired me and my replacement. He just referred to Tua as his replacement. Like this isn't a guy that looks up to him. Like he's still a leader on this team. If Tua is giving the locker room speech next game and Fitz is just in the back pouting, like it's going to divide the locker room. I understand Fitz, like he may have played his last snap, which sucks, but this is like what the deal was all along. And I don't know. I think that it's just the perfect time for Tua. It's Tua time, and I'm excited for the future, which has finally arrived. I've been waiting for the future of the Dolphins for 20 years, and it's here.
Yeah.
Hyped.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that first of all, we don't know we shouldn't take one game in the NFL this year for granted. But we don't know what's going to happen with this season, when games are going to be played, if it all goes to shit. It's all up in the air. And you need to get Tua in while you can to get him that experience. Bye week's a perfect time. And honestly, even if you're like, oh, we were one game behind the Bills, we could have made the playoffs, I don't think anyone at the end of the season is going to say we should have played Fitz the entire season. I don't think anyone says that. I don't even think anyone says that, oh, we should have let Tua just play the last few games. Don't give Tua the garbage last 3 games of the nothing season. Give him the games that matter. Let's see how he does. And if he falls on his face, he falls on his face, and you'll have plenty of time to make up for it. So what's the point in holding this guy off if he's healthy? I think a lot of people were surprised because we didn't know how healthy his hip was. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's 100% because they wouldn't be playing him if that wasn't the case. But at the same time, I think Fitz's reaction was genuine. As much as you could be the role of whatnot, he was playing pretty well and he felt like he deserved a couple more weeks or so and more prior notice. That's all it was. I don't think that I think the team is going to be 100% behind whoever guy is taking the snaps.
I think that, I don't know, it would have been more hurtful, I think, if Fitz had one bad game. If Fitz had a bad game next week and then they benched him, he'd be like, what the heck? I'm playing well. This is just 1 week. Versus it's not that you're not playing well. It's that he's the quarterback we just drafted. He's the future. It's time. You're 37. You're playing great. That the fact that we did it now made it clear that it wasn't about his skill level. If he wants to go get signed somewhere else next year, that team knows that he wasn't benched because he was playing badly. He was playing great. He was benched because it's just what the season is. That's what the point of our season was to get Tua to be the guy. And now it's time. And I'm hyped.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think him being benched for a generational talent is completely understandable. And I actually do think he's going to get another, he's going to be on a roster next season. Regardless.
I think maybe he wanted to retire. Maybe he was I'll play one last year. And now he's now I'm done. Or I have to play another year. But
I mean, he'll take his he'll take his millions of dollars and his Harvard degree and go on and do something great with his life. But yeah, you understand the frustration. I mean, once your playing days are gone, they're gone. You can't ever get them back. I think you'll be fine. I think Fitz will be fine. I think he'll get over it. And especially if Tua starts killing the game, I really think you're going to see a lot of support from the guy. And I think he is really the perfect mentor for Tua. I think him saying that doesn't mean that him and Tua don't have a great relationship, because I'm pretty sure they do. The way that he reacted when Tua got to take the field, that's genuine. He was very happy for Tua in that moment, and I think he will be in the coming weeks. What I'm looking forward to is going to surprise you, because you know that it takes an absolute force to get me into a movie theater. But I'm looking forward to movie theaters being opened again. When that really comes back, there's a couple movie theaters opening up in New York again. But I'm talking about when things are normal and we have a vaccine, get the full theater. Nothing more than I hate. There's nothing I hate more than when people clap in a movie, when something happens in a movie, or when a plane lands, or there's a sunset. People, I think it's very cringe. But Honestly, the first movie I come back to with a packed house, it's a premiere, and the movie starts and people start clapping, I might give a round of applause too. And it's because I miss things coming out. And this is something I realized is that music, movies, they're all getting delayed. People, no one wants to release anything at this time. Like, you really don't know what you have until it's gone. You really don't know what you have until it's gone. And even if I wouldn't go and make the choice to go on my way and see that movie, like, I liked the choice. I liked the fact that it was on the table and that things were coming out. And like, you even think about a year, like, I don't know, like the fact that there were years like Moonlight and La La Land, they're all coming out like months, away from each other. Oscar season, you know, the fall, you got all these really awesome movies coming out. It's boom, boom, boom every week, like something else. And that natural flow to things being released and new things happening, just being stalled for this long. Like, I saw news that some theaters open in New York, and I was thinking, like, man, when things are normal and things being released, there's going to be like just all this pent up demand that's happening right now. Like, there's just going to be a year where like going to the movie theater is going to be like a party. Like, everyone in there is going to be so hyped up, and there's going to be confetti falling from the rafters, and what, it's going to be awesome. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, me as well. Any night that like I don't have plans, the last like my whole life, like going back to when I was a kid, like whenever I didn't have like plans on a Friday night, I'd be like, all right, well, what movies are playing? Like, I'll just go see a movie. Like, and I'll look forward to like over the course of weeks, like, oh, like I'm gonna hang out with my friend this day, and Spider-Man comes out on this day. Like, that's just like part of my life, and it's been 6 months, 10 months. How long has it been? God. It's been like a year.
Let's
of
just say
like,
a year. Let's just say a
just
year.
like it's all been taken away. There's no like, oh, like, well, I'm looking ahead to this. And just since you brought it up, I'm so glad you did. Just next year, superhero movies: Wonder Woman 84, Morbius, Black Widow, Venom 2, Shang-Chi, The Suicide Squad, The Eternals, and Spider-Man 3.
Damn.
All of the movies that was going to come out last year are coming out next year. Supposed to be Godzilla versus Kong, like every James Bond, like every movie, like there was if you take 2 years of awesome releases and they're basically being pushed into one summer, and every single week we're gonna be going to the movies and like seeing something awesome, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, do you know what's gonna happen with like box office and whatnot? It's gonna be like Spurs basketball. Like, there's not gonna be like that one big winner that gets all the money because there's not gonna be like a Titanic or anything. There's gonna be so many movies that like I don't think any movie is gonna do like particularly well because there's so many movies out. But it's not gonna matter. Like the wealth will be shared. Like, I think every movie is gonna get watched like because of like just the pent up demand and whatnot. Like, yeah, you don't have this big blockbuster thing that like the big box office movie that knocks everything else out of the water. And maybe that's a bummer if you're I don't know, Marvel or some production company, like thinking that you're going to cash on this big whatever. But I think that everyone is going to understand the situation and sacrifice, like, yeah, like this movie isn't going to make as much as it would have under normal conditions because of what happened, but we're still going to release it so the public can enjoy it and that everyone can like just enjoy like all these movies. I just think that like with people doing like reservations, like, dude, you might have to make a reservation to go to movies like 2 weeks in advance, like 3 weeks, like that's going to be the sheer level of volume I'm anticipating. And above all that, I'm just, like you said, there's so many things that are going to come out next year. I just think that things getting released, like, it's going to be a very refreshing thing. I'm hyped for it. Do you have a specific, like what's the 2021 Dylan, even if the world is ending and you have only $9 or $11 left in your bank account, you have to see this movie?
Ooh. I think a lot about A Quiet Place too, because that was supposed to come out like the week that Corona happened, and it was just like it was within our grasp, and it just was taken away. But honestly, this wasn't supposed to come out this year. You mean a movie that was supposed to come out this year or a movie next year? Because the movie thinking of coming out is coming out next year, no matter what. I'll just say it. Spider-Man 3, news has been dropping about that left and right. It started with like, Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is going to be the villain. And then, Doctor Strange, after he does Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness is going to be in it. News broke. It's unconfirmed, but news broke that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are signed on. Spider-Man 3, in theory right now, is believed to be a live-action Spider-Verse. and there is nothing in the world I will miss that. If the Black Plague comes back, I'm going to see Spider-Man 3, Spider-Verse live action. If we're counting movies just from this year that didn't get released, it's got to be Kong versus Godzilla. Easy.
The Spider-Man thing is super intriguing to me. I didn't hear about this until you're just telling me this right now. But I'm a huge Toby guy, and I'm a huge Toby. I miss that would be just so awesome. Like paying homage to like those guys, but also implementing the new thing. And then Jamie Foxx is just shocking people.
he said he won't be blue in this one, which is like a saving grace. But he's going to be in it playing the same villain, and reportedly Andrew Garfield is signed on. Like that rumor was broke by the same people that rumored like Electro's kind of being in it and Doctor Strange is going to be in it. And then those two things came true. And then they broke that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had signed on. And then Sony, when they addressed it, they didn't say this isn't true. They said those reports are unconfirmed. Like they're the ones that confirm the reports or not. They said those reports are unconfirmed. So I'm confident that it's in the works. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd probably be like the next biggest thing to Avengers, like to come out out of Marvel.
Definitely.
But maybe I was thinking about doing movie theater food before the ballpark thing. Maybe that's for like a different day. I think there's definitely some overlap there.
I've got some takes on that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, well, we'll have to save for next time. Thank you for watching, sticking with us through another episode of Zoomer Reactions. Remember to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about in the comments. Dylan, is there any signing off that you want to do?
Everyone go listen to Everyone listen to Tub Thumping, and everyone watch Tua next week.
All right, there you go. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one, and take care.